I'm good.
Are you glad we're in finals week?
Yes. Absolutely.
Unbelievable we got here.
Yeah. Still uncertain what lies ahead though, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's the wrap up hasn't quite wrapped up this year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi, Greg. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Chris.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you all so much for joining. We're going to just take another moment for a few more people to join us. It is finals week for UCSB, so I'm sure it's a little bit wonky today. I'm not quite sure what we're expecting, if we'll have any of our students or frazzled faculty and staff with us, but we'll wait just another moment before we get started. Okay. Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. I am posting the agenda on the chat just in case anybody did not get that via email. So just to get us started again, welcome everyone to our June Isla Vista Community Network meeting being held via Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Diana Collins-Puente. I am serving as the chair of the Isla Vista Community Network. I am also the director of community affairs and governmental affairs for associated students at UCSB. And so to get us started, I want to welcome you all and then also do the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Chumash people and pay our respects to elders, both past and present. We honor the traditional territory as well as the story and contributions of the Chumash people to the land upon which we gather and create. And with that, I would love to move on to doing our round of introductions and any quick announcements that you all might have before we go into our regular agenda items. And please do, as you're checking in, we would welcome you saying anything about how you're feeling on this June 9th, coming either to the end of the quarter, the beginning of summer, whatever kind of transition you're in. We'd love to hear just anything else that you might want to add about how you're doing. So starting us off, Jackie, if you wouldn't mind going first, I'll start with you and then move on to Jeff.
Right. Hi, everybody. Jackie Curda. I represent student health. I'm the director of the Alcohol and Drug Counseling Education, Prevention, and Recovery Program. And feeling the end of the quarter is upon us and summer ahead, and still feels like there's significant uncomfortable concerns that students have about adjustments in general. We, on specific to our program, we continue to have significant concerns about the fentanyl issues that exist in our community and within Santa Barbara County. We did a campus-wide announcement, a fentanyl alert, about 2 weeks ago, and got some responses from people. Sadly learned from a few people that there had been some deaths, or at least one death of a student who was after he had graduated, and it was related to fentanyl. So it's just an ongoing concern. We're doing our best to mitigate with some naloxone and fentanyl test strip distribution. But it's something I actually would, if we have time, love to ask a few thoughts about in this meeting. So, but nice to see everybody.
Thank you so much for that, Jackie. And we absolutely would have time to come back to that. So thank you. Great. Then I would invite Jeff next. And after Jeff, Greg.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. My name is Jeff Wilson. I'm the Assistant Director of the Planning Department, and I'm grateful and excited to be part of this meeting today.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jeff. Really appreciate your time. And Greg, I would invite you, then followed by Johnson. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure the first name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Craig Johnson. I'm with the Santa Barbara County Building Safety Division. I'm only here if I can assist with any questions on the Ivy Bluff, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Craig. And Greg, would you like to go next?
Yes, Deanna, thank you so much. It's Greg Hart, 2nd District County Supervisor, and I'm representing Isla Vista these days. And just really glad that Craig and Jeff can be here today to help answer questions. This came up at our last meeting, what's the Planning Development Department's doing about bluff top safety. So it's a complex subject, and we've got two of the best people to help answer questions and tell you where we are with improving safety in Isla Vista on the bluff top. And just we're going to appreciate them again for being here to help with this conversation.
Thank you so much, Greg. And thank you for moving that conversation forward and allowing us the opportunity to get back to it so quickly. I really, really appreciate it. I will now invite Erin, followed by Spencer.
Hi, my name is Erin Murphy Doherty. I'm a large property owner, probably I think the largest owner of the Isla Vista Bluffs. And I'm just here to finally actually kind of be invited to the table to be part of these discussions. So I'm very grateful for your invitation, and I'm excited to see what comes out of it.
Thank you so much, Erin. It's good to have you here. Spencer, and then Chris.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see you all. I'm Spencer Brandt, the president of the Isla Vista Community Services District. I'll have to apologize. I'm on vacation, so I'm going to be camera off today, but didn't want to miss this meeting. So great to be with you all.
Thank you for joining us while on vacation, Spencer. Thank you. And I'll invite Chris, followed by Jonathan.
Good morning, everyone. Chris Henson with Supervisor Hart's office.
Thank you, Chris. And please, you all feel free to say a little bit more about how you're feeling too, and give us your check-ins about this time of year. We want to hear from you as well. So I will give a chance for anyone who already introduced themselves. If you want to go back and say anything about how you're feeling, welcome you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just say I'm feeling really good this week.
Excellent.
I'll bet you are.
Thank you so much. Then I will go on to Jonathan, followed by Jay.
Yes, congratulations, Greg, on the win. We are rooting for you here in IV. Hi, everybody. My name is Jonathan. I'm the general manager for Isla Vista Community Services District. I'm also camera off, trying to get some lunch in before many Zooms today. I feel like the Zoom meetings have calmed down a lot, but today I've been in Zooms from 9 a.m. and probably until like 7 or 8. So it's a long day.
You're going back to back.
Back.
Well, good. I hope that you enjoy your lunch, Jonathan. Thank you. Jay, followed by Raul.
My name is Jay Freeman. I'm on the board of the Isla Vista Community Services District, as well as the Local Agency Formation Commission. However, I'm representing neither of those agencies here today. I'm here only in my personal capacity.
Thank you, Jay. Any check-in on how you're feeling at this juncture of the year?
I am tired.
Yes, heard that. Thank you, Jay. Raul, followed by Haley.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raul Macias. I am the program director here at the St. George Youth Center, as well as the grant director for the Isla Vista Community for Healthy Families. And today I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, but productive.
Great. Thank you so much, Raul. Haley, followed by Rodney, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Haley Stankwitz. I'm the incoming External Vice President for Local Affairs for Associated Students. And I'm super excited to be here today. I'm feeling very also stressed out. I just finished my finals last night, and then I'm moving out today after all my meetings. So yeah.
My goodness. Thank you so much, Haley. Congratulations on finishing the finals. and good luck with the move. We'll be talking to see how Rodney and then Sydney.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rodney Gould. I'm the Associated Students Isla Vista Community Advisor, work out of the Parnell Center. And I'm feeling pretty good today. Just yesterday, drove down to Downey and picked up 2 dogs that were going to be euthanized, and now I am fostering them in my home. And they're amazing, beautiful German Shepherds.
Oh, nice, beautiful. Maybe you'll share some pictures with us at some point.
I will.
And Lisa says, Rodney's a hero. Thanks, Rodney. That's awesome. Great. I would invite Sydney, followed by Leah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sydney Kessler. I'm the Community Engagement Director for Isla Vista Community Services District. It's so nice to see everyone. All is well. I feel like things are finally winding down a bit, so feeling pretty productive right about now. So thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Leah, and then Lisa.
Hi, I am Leah with the pharmacy. I don't have a great connection, so I'm going to stay off camera today.
Sounds good. Thank you, Leah. Lisa, and then Kirsten.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Osborne, News and Public Affairs Director at KCS-BFM. Congrats to Greg. That's awesome on your win. And congrats to Haley getting through finals and our other students as well. So I'm a little bittersweet. I'm really happy that the year's coming to an end. We're losing one of our student news directors after 2 years who's been really solid, but we have 2 new news directors coming in. And I know that they're going to carry on all the great work that we've been doing and even advance our newsroom even more. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just good luck to everybody through move out time. And I'm going to probably turn my camera off too to have lunch. So, but it's great to be here.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Lisa. Kirsten, and then IVRPD.
Hi, everyone. Kirsten Deschler, Government Relations Director, UC Santa Barbara. And also, I am a board member on the Isla Vista Community Services District. And this is always an interesting time on campus. I love it. There's so much excitement in the air. People are graduating. There's happy parents and happy families and happy kids. And it's just such a celebratory time. And then I balance that with the state budget process, which is always quite a bit of a challenge and always actually lots of money this year, but we'll see what the UC budget looks like. So that's my world, and happy to be here. And thanks for asking how I'm feeling.
Absolutely. What a contrast, right? A budget process and getting the joy of graduations and all of that. Thank you so much, Kirsten. IVRPD.
Luis Valero here, Assistant General Manager, Isla Vista Rec and Park District.
Hi, everybody. Kimberly Kiefer, General Manager, Isla Vista Recreation Park District. Happy summer.
Hey, hello, you two. Welcome. And any check-in on how you're feeling in this funny transition week?
2-word check-in would be foggy, sun.
I was gonna go humid and multiple words here. Summer planning. There you go.
Very nice. I think we should do these 2-word check-ins every time. I like that too. Very nice. Thank you all so much. Really, really appreciate that. Really appreciate hearing from you and just recognizing that our experiences are also, you know, in a small community, but such different things that we're all dealing with. And so it's really, I like it very much to hear what's on everybody's minds. I can imagine that if Viviana was here, she would be telling us that on her mind is the Give Sale. So I will do a little plug for the Give Sale. If you all don't know about it, it is underway right now, collecting all of the furniture and other things from the community of Isla Vista, happening at Embarcadero Hall, utilizing hundreds of volunteers and hundreds of volunteer hours to recycle, reduce, reuse all of the things that would otherwise be going to landfills or to the streets of Isla Vista. So huge shout out to Viviana for that incredible effort and to everybody else who is supporting that. I know that they usually manage to keep tons and tons of pounds of materials out of the landfill. So, and it's really cool stuff to go by and get as well. So if any of you are looking to grab some things for the summer, please do consider stopping by the Give Sale. So did I miss anybody in the check-ins? I think we have everyone. So we will move in then to the regular part of the agenda, beginning with our updates, starting with the Second District Supervisor's Office. If you would like to begin, Greg, with any updates that you might have.
Well, all I wanted to do really was just to introduce Jeff and Craig, but I already did that. So we can have them do their presentation whenever you want, Deanna, in the agenda. So I'll just make it short.
Wonderful. I do have them on the agenda for 12:25, but if you'd like, we can just plug them in right now so that we can get to that great little, significant piece of information and conversation if you would prefer.
Well, whatever works for you, but I'm sure they would appreciate it because I know they're both really busy. So if that works for everybody else, that's great for us.
Sounds great. If nobody minds, let me I just had 3 more folks pop in. So we'll finish off the introductions, quick announcements, and check-ins, and then we'll move on to that item on the agenda. So I would invite Lori, Omari, and Ash to introduce yourselves and to also let us know anything that's on your mind as we're transitioning on this beautiful June 9th. So I will start with Lori.
Hi, thank you, Deanna. It's nice to see you. It's been a little while since I've been here. I'm Lori Goodman. I'm the Executive Director of the Isla Vista Youth Projects. And I do not have any burning announcements today. I apologize for being late.
No worries at all. Thank you, Lori. Omari and then Ash.
Hello, Omari Pryor with the Alcohol and Drug Program. I'm the Prevention and Communication Manager, and I don't think I have any announcements either. So
Perfect.
just glad to see everyone.
Excellent. Thank you, Omari. And Ash, on to you.
Hello, everyone. Happy June. I don't have any announcements. I'm excited about the give sale, but I'm sure that's already being covered, so check.
Excellent. Thank you, Ash. And so just as a reminder, we're going to move the agenda a little bit around, and we're going to begin this next conversation will be with the County Planning Department regarding Isla Vista Bluffs updates, Isla Vista Bluff safety. We'd had this conversation at our last meeting that a lot of things have been happening, obviously, both in terms of some changes to policies that happened over the last couple of years to the Isla Vista Bluffs, and of course, some folks that have been injured recently. And so we wanted to have an opportunity to come back and just have a big picture conversation. So we have Greg, Supervisor Hart, invited both Jeff Wilson and Craig Johnson from the Planning Department to join us today to give us some of those updates. And then I'm hoping that we can just have any other questions or conversations that come up around that. And so just with that, Greg, if you'd like to start, or if Jeff or Craig, you would like to start, I hand over the mic to you.
Jeff, you can just go right ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Supervisor Hart. And again, thanks for inviting us to this meeting. We'll give you a high-level, big picture view of our policies and the actions that we're engaged in at the moment. And then I do again want to introduce Craig Johnson. He's new to our team, relatively new within the last year or so. He's the building official. So him and his team are the tip of the spear as far as our office goes, as far as monitoring the bluffs and the bluff setback. So I wanted him part of this conversation so he could hear any concerns, and he could clean up after me if I misstate or don't cover everything adequately. So we appreciate Craig and his team for what they're doing. And I'll jump in and give a high level overview of our policy, things that we're engaged in. And then if Craig wants to follow up with recent inspections and or notifications that they've sent out, that's fine as well. So in regards to the policy, and this information is available online as well, there is a policy that we did update and that was finalized in 2020. And that policy updated the setback criteria for bluff-top properties. And just really quick snapshot is that policy changed the setback distances from the bluff. And so it's a 20 feet. If your foundational of the structure is within 20 feet, you get a letter, a notice saying you might want to be looking at the integrity of the bluff, your foundation. And then we give them a notification letter requesting they do some geotechnical information. If you're within 15 feet, we send out a notice of violation saying you do need to do a geotechnical study, make sure your foundation is secure where the bluff is. At 10 feet, we actually give them a notice to vacate the portions of their property or the structure that may be within 10 feet of the bluff. And part of the genesis from this is in 2017, there was a bluff failure that was greater than 5 feet. And we reevaluated it. We brought in our experts and analyzed it. We felt that for bluff safety, we needed to do an increased setbacks in order to preserve health and life and safety out there with structures along the bluff. And so it's Craig and his team, our standard is we try to do inspections of the bluff top properties at least quarterly. We do go out there when we're notified of an event, high tide, waves, or bluff failures, we'll try to go out there and do those events. In addition, if there's a tidal event that's 2 feet above the mean high tide, we'll go out there and do inspections as well. Or if there's an earthquake over 4.0 or 75 miles of the bluffs. So we're trying to be active out there. Some of the constraints and problems that we have is that these are private properties. So we do have to have permission or access to enter the properties to evaluate them from the property side. Otherwise, we have to do most of our inspections from the beach side when the tide's low enough for us to gain access there. So that's part of the constraints that we have. We do want to work with the property owners to create this collaborative environment to where they're working with us and we can do those inspections in case of an event or after an event. Then I know Craig and his team, we sent out letters back in 2020. Craig came on board and this is one of his top priorities is to monitor that. And so he recently resent out a bunch of letters notifying property owners of the new policies and sent out specific letters to properties that may be within these setback criteria as well. I know Craig's pushing really hard to try to get a new survey from a geotechnical expert on the county side to get a more current snapshot of the current conditions out there that we can use to help us evaluate the bluff retreat. And then as far as the one other thing that's on there is we have reinitiated discussions internally and with the Coastal Commission about requirements for fencing along the bluff. Coastal Commission's concerns have to do with the aesthetics and not restricting public views or the view shed, as well as balancing that with, excuse me.
Am I allowed to comment at any point or give a comment period?
Yes, Aaron, we will definitely have some opportunity for that.
Sorry, this is the dangers of Zoom. I apologize.
That's all right.
No worries at all. We appreciate having the doggies in the conversation as well.
He's a rescue dog too, so he's excited about life. So
you need to save him too, buddy, or
somebody might need to respond to my house in a second. So.
My potbelly pig just broke into the house and I'm going to deal with that after. So.
So anyway, my face is really flushed now. I should have ended sooner and let Craig talk, but just to wrap up on that, the fence thing, we're talking internally about where to place those requirements in our ordinances, whether it's in the building safety code or in our zoning aspects. We haven't come down to a decision. Coastal Commission is open to dialogue as far as what fence materials would look like and or fence height. So that's the current status. And I'll turn it over to Craig as far as to get an update on what him and his team has been engaged in.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll just add a couple of thoughts. Jeff did a really good summary of the whole policy. I guess I would just note that the 2019-2020 county policy, came about due to the observations of the bluff collapse that people had seen. It was a revised policy. And then all the letters that were sent out in January 2020, basically that effort was kind of put on hold. I wasn't with the county then, but it was put on hold due to the virus. That was a decision that was made at that time. And so since I've been here, I've realized we need to pick that effort back up again. And so just recently, a new series of letters have gone out basically to repeat the January 2020 effort to require a new geotech report or an update of a past geotech report for all the properties that are 15 feet or closer, and then just a general letter to all the properties that are outside, that are further away from the bluff than that, to advise them, give them advice to obtain a geotech report or an updated report if they haven't already. But that's not mandatory, it's just advice. And then as Jeff noted, we're looking into having a consultant repeat the past LiDAR analysis of the whole bluff. That would really give the county better and more specific information. As Jeff noted, staff doesn't have, county staff don't have carte blanche to go on any of these properties that we might wish to. They're private property, and we have to respect the private property rights. And so our monitoring of exactly what's going on with the bluff and distance to properties is not 100% exact, but we're working on getting, nailing that down a lot better.
Wow. Thank you so much to both of you for those updates and descriptions. There is, of course, a lot to unpack in regards to the bluffs, both to the policies, the fencing, and the current conditions. I did have a couple of things I wanted to put on the radar for the conversation, and then also just, of course, welcome anybody else with questions and comments. I wanted to note that a few years ago, there had been a conversation with the planning department about having a website that listed vulnerable properties, so that the public would be able to see which were the properties that were being monitored. I believe there were a couple of different stages of whether it was, again, the 5 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet setbacks. That would have been that would be very useful for us, because it also is part of our outreach efforts. We do a lot of door-to-door outreach along the ocean side of DP throughout the year. So just wondering if there's any status on if there is a web page or a report or something that is available. The other question that I had was, in the original policy, before these changes were made, there was provision in there about notification to tenants when there was a notification being made to the property owners. And in that instance, where there was the 14-foot fall of the cliffs, where the cliff collapsed, one of the big issues with that was the lack of notification to tenants, and perhaps the landlord was not actually notifying the tenants in a timely way. So just wanted to ask if maybe I did not see that provision in the new policy, and just wondering if that might actually still be there, or if there's some consideration for how tenants are notified in those instances. And I would just stop there for now and open it up for other questions or comments. Erin, I see your hand up.
Hey, okay, so I obviously have a lot to say on this, but I will start by saying that we've never been once asked to access our properties by the county for site-specific instructions. So saying that we're denying that is false. The other thing that we had issue with is and please pipe in, don't wait till after, does the county have an employed geologist?
Consultant.
A consultant, yeah, okay, so here's the thing with that. The consultant is Cottonshire, I believe. That's a private company, but Lisa Plowman has prohibited us from waiving the conflict from asking that consultant specific questions. So I do believe that there is actually regulation prohibiting that. If the county doesn't have an expert and they hire one, then they can't prohibit us from asking those questions. It's basically the California Public Records Request Access that we're being denied because they're using the private company to do that. I forwarded some emails to Mr. Hart and Abood on that issue. Then the other issue is we've continually, I believe the total calculation that we've spent on site-specific geological studies, we actually had someone out there 2 days ago, is close to $450,000 at this point. We are totally open to being transparent with those reports. The problem that we come across is in the past, and I know this person's retired, thank God now, but a structural engineer was dictating geological bluff, procedures and how the report read. That can't happen. That's like asking a podiatrist to perform heart surgery. There's a very big difference. So we just ask that the best people for the job actually do the job and don't dictate the policy. In fact, our geologist that we use now, Sasan Geo, was the one that the county actually hired after the T fire to assess the debris flow risk. So for the county to claim conflict is kind of, and that's specifically Lisa Plowman that did that. And then the other thing I want to bring up is the conversation that erosion has anything to do with the deaths that happen on the bluffs. That's something that's continually convoluted, and it's not fair, and it actually borders on the line of libel. No one has actually died from erosion or degradation of the bluffs. What people have died is acute intoxication, drug use, in one instance of those deaths, suicide. So it's kind of like blaming the 101 freeway when someone drunkenly runs across it and gets hit by a car. I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that's right. So, a few other things about the erosion of the bluffs. The erosion of the bluffs is actually a man-made problem. That is from the Kachuma Reservoir not redepositing the silt, the silt and the sediment from, all the rivers and tributaries. And in the environmental impact report from the Senate, from the California Water Resources Board, Volume 3, they specifically stated lack of sediment redistribution will cause erosion. So what we're going to ask, and I would like the county's cooperation on this, is that we take a man-made issue and we make a man-made solution by implying, minimally invasive erosion techniques at some of those properties to stop the erosion, which is granted. And sorry, I have a few notes here. Where did it go? There was a case that went through the Court of Appeals with the Coastal Commission, and it provides that bluff properties can be protected against erosion as long as they do not impede coastal access. So I believe that we are within our rights to do minimally environmentally, invasive erosion control, because everybody keeps wanting to say, oh, erosion, erosion, erosion. Well, how do we stop that erosion? We've tried a few times. We put up jute net, and if we didn't take down the jute net, because, by the way, Coastal Commission's aesthetics, which is so lame, so they didn't like the look of it, but that prevented erosion, and we were threatened with almost $1 million a year fine if we kept it up. Another time with relevance to safety, we put up a temporary fence, and we were again threatened with, and I say we put up a temporary fence because it was a problem house, but again, we were threatened with almost an $800 a day fine if we didn't take it down. So we have been trying very hard to make the bluffs safer. And I will say I am at odds with a lot of my fellow property owners. The most recent Bluff Fall death, I actually turned that property in 2 years ago for having unsafe conditions. And I will say that I was happy to see that they had cut back and fixed that before the fall happened. So, I guess if anybody wants to ask me any questions.
Thank you very much, Erin. I appreciate your input. And I would just welcome if there's any response or any thing else from the county right now, or otherwise I will also open up to anybody else who might have additional questions or comments.
Hey, Diane, I can jump in for a second, just so I can keep track of the comments. Going back to your two comments, we don't have a website up yet. I know that there's been prior communication about we're in the process of switching over to a new electronic database that we can help house some of this information. Also, one aspect that we could do is Sorry, I had to get his attention. Every time I talk, he wants to join in. So,
Of course.
is the same procedure that we used for the debris flow and other disasters that we've had, where it's an interactive map, where we can merge data specific information and put it on a map so that's more interactive. Then it'll take us a little while to build, but that's something that Craig and I can go offline and discuss how we can put that together. But that's an option. We've had success in the recent events, from the debris flow up to the holiday fire and then the Lisa fire as well, where we're creating interactive information. So that's an option that we can explore. I looked at the policy. Unless Craig can chime in, I don't see the notice to tenants included in the policy now. So that might be something we take back and we evaluate as well. And then I just want to say to Aaron, thank you for coming today. It's great to hear from you. And I think a lot of your concerns we can take offline, and Craig and I'd be more than willing to set up a meeting with you and kind of go over your concerns and create a collaborative approach to address some of those concerns. I think that would be great and beneficial to help you and your properties.
I just want transparency. In the past, there has not been a lot of transparency, like I said, with the county hiring third-party contractors. And by the way, I cannot comprehend how the Santa Barbara City or Santa Barbara County does not have its own geological department when we've actually been the site of probably one of the largest geological disasters in the last 20 years. So to me, that doesn't make sense, except for maybe they're trying to keep the conflict in place for lack of public access. So I would really encourage the County Board of Supervisors to please bring on a qualified geologist.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Jeff, for those comments as well. I do have a question just in regards to the website that you just mentioned and the opportunity to make that into an interactive map. And please, everybody else, jump in. I think that sounds great. I wonder if in the interim, is there a report that is issued from the county about vulnerable properties that might be something that we could disseminate in the meantime through the network?
Thank you for that question. At the moment, we don't have a consolidated report that we have put together. And I think that's on the design table with the new database that we're putting together that could consolidate all this information and create a comprehensive report. We don't have that yet. Right now, Craig would be your point of contact as far as that information. And Craig, I don't know if you have any more information you'd like to add to that.
Add to that quickly that we have 36 properties that we have updated geological reports on that we would be more than happy to share with you, as long as you guys are more than happy to share with us on yours.
Thanks, Jeff. No, I have nothing to add on that. Thank you.
Great. And I do have one other question, which is just as this conversation, we've had it over so many years about the fencing. And as you mentioned, really working right now, you all are discussing this, I believe you said with the Coastal Commission, to just see where that would be incorporated into the legal code. Do you imagine that there's a place and a time where community would be able to receive more information or be able to be engaged in those conversations? I know it has been obviously something very strongly felt by a lot of members in the community over the years.
Thank you for that question. So the answer to that, short answer is yes. The first step is identifying what code that we would put those requirements in, if we can. And that would require an amendment to that code, which is a public process. And there'd be public hearings and opportunities for the public to weigh in and provide feedback or information as far as that goes. The conversation the reason we're having with the Coastal Commission is that it would require us to potentially update our local coastal plan, which is reviewed and approved by the Coastal Commission if those requirements go into the zoning or the Coastal Zoning Act. So that's why we're engaging with the Coastal Commission. So at first we thought it'd be an easy, simple update to the code, but then we started digging into it and we realized, okay, there's a little bit more nuances than we were thinking at first. So if it's an update to the local coastal plan or the Coastal Zone Act, that is a public process, and other ordinance changes are. So that would be an opportunity for the public to participate in that.
Thank you so much for that.
I would actually like to ask for, and I talked to Doss Williams about this before, which he's a fabulous resource on Isla Vista, given that he grew up there, he went to college there, that there could be a certain amount of stand down from the county when emergency measures are taken on certain properties to prevent falls. Like we own 6653. Topaya, that's the house that had the bluff failure that everyone quotes. But I would also like to add that that bluff failure was a man-made failure from a 3-foot concrete or from a 30-foot concrete beam that was illegally poured. And then palm trees were planted behind it. And so then the palm trees and their structure acted as a funnel to collapse the cliff from the roadside forward. But, you know, there is a stand down that could happen, and it's happened before, and leave it up to the Coastal Commission to enforce us taking down or removing fences, you know, especially in times where, you know, we fear for risk of life, which has happened in the past where we erected on 6653 an 8-foot fence and were forced to take it down. That house was specifically having 1,000 to 2,000 person parties almost every weekend. And it's not easy to evict people for having those parties. It's a very complicated legal process, which I wish Robin was here to talk more about that. But so if we have to take emergency measures, I would really appreciate kind of a stand down from the county on making us take them down. I don't know if that's possible, but I know there is some language under the same language that grants sanctuary cities that does allow government non-compliance with higher authorities.
Erin, thank you so much. Really glad that you are here for this conversation. And I want to invite if there's anybody else then that has any question or comment for this conversation. Okay. Well, then in that case, I really want to thank Jeff and Craig for your time and for being with us. It feels like there will be some additional follow-ups, you know, soon, and as we continue to have conversations about cliff safety, you know, as a whole, fencing and all of that. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Jeff and Craig too. And obviously this issue is very complex, a lot of history, a lot of work that's gone on over a long time. And we're just going to keep working collaboratively to try and make things better, and appreciate Erin's contribution to the conversation. But you know, that we're not going to resolve this today. It's just going to take a lot more work. And the Coastal Commission has a lot of authority in this space, and we're going to have to work very collaboratively with them to find a solution that helps improve the situation and meets their regulations. So that I'll just leave it at that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And on that note, Greg, if you have any other updates in terms of the county that you would like to add, this would be a great place to jump in. You don't have any? Perfect. Okay, wonderful. Then thank you so much, Supervisor Hart and all the county folks. We will then move on to the next item on the agenda, which is Associated Students in Isla Vista. And I will turn that over to Haley.
Hi, so I guess like an update for me, or that's sorry, my Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty. Did somebody say something?
No, it's all you.
I didn't want to like interrupt anyone. My Wi-Fi has been a little bit bad, which is also why my camera's been off. But I've just been in the process of hiring for the EVPLA office, and I'm in transition into taking on this role. So most of it is just like getting the gist of everything and like making sure positions are occupied and stuff. But I'm really excited to start working with everybody, and I can put in my emails in the chat if anyone would like to contact me with anything. Here's one of them, and then here's the other one. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else to really update on or report. Again, just because I'm starting the transition process into taking over the office. So,
Haley, thank you. Would you like to take a moment to maybe just say a little bit about yourself and maybe a little bit about big picture, your position for folks that are not familiar with the structure of AS and how and what your position is and whatever other details you'd like to provide?
Yeah, definitely. So within Associated Students, basically like I am like the student that's going to be representing students to like local authorities, the networking in Isla Vista and things like that. So one of the like a lot of the big things that I like would like to work on with my platform this year is like safety control stuff with Isla Vista and trying to like use like a non-punitive like enforcement of that, along with not using like law enforcement type of like tactics to like helping with safety. So like re-implementing like UCIV is going to be something that I'd really like to work on, and then like putting forth like an annual like safety like assessment would be something that I'd really like to try to do this year in my term. There are a few other things too that I'm a little bit blanking on right now just because I am a little sleep deprived finals week. But those are a few things that I'd like to work on. Another thing would be like to expand the alcohol and drug program to include roofing substances for students, things like that. And there are many other things that I'm forgetting right now, but that's just a little bit. And then I'm also going to be a fourth year. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm double majoring in political science and sociology, hopefully with a minor in professional writing. And I'm studying for the LSAT this summer. So yeah.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Haley. That was perfect. And appreciate you in the midst of being sleep deprived, still being able to kind of share that insight of the position and some of your initial goals. I know you're spending a lot of time listening to what is happening and really getting a sense of Isla Vista from this perspective. And I see that Jackie, whenever UCIV gets mentioned, I think Jackie perks up a little bit, gets excited. That's very good news on that side of things as well. So thank you so much, Haley. Are there any other questions? And Haley, congratulations on becoming coming into this new position. It's really, really an important time, and we're really excited to be working with you. Are there any questions or comments for Haley? Okay.
Welcome and good luck.
Thank you. And I see also Spencer on the chat. Congrats, Haley. Beautiful. Lisa, I'm wondering if you have anything from AS, or Rodney, anything pressing from AS that you'd like to share very quickly?
I don't. We had our AS awards last week. They were great. We wound up having to do them on Zoom. We were planning for an in-person and we didn't, and they came out really nicely. So that's all I have to say. Rodney?
Yeah, I don't have much to say. Parnell Center, we're interviewing people to fill positions. A lot of our staff has moved on. Others will be gone for the summer. So we're trying to hire enough staff to keep the Parnell Center open so that we can still provide printing services and distribution of masks and COVID testing kits. IVTU and Legal Resource Center are both going to be operating all summer. You can go online and make appointments for consultations. But that's about all I have.
Thank you very much. And I would just finish up the AS piece by also mentioning that since the last time that we all met, we of course commemorated the 8th anniversary of the May 23rd tragedy of 2014. And I really want to thank IVRPD, the Division of Student Affairs, and Associated Students for holding that space at the Love and Remembrance Garden. It was really beautiful to see all of the pictures, the framed pictures of all the students that were lost, along with the stories from the families for each one of those students, and the flowers and the blue lights, the lanterns. I think a lot of people were coming through that space throughout the day. And so just want to thank you and acknowledge, the occasion and everybody's work in making that possible. So thank you.
Can I add something on that, completely off topic, but we're one of the few leasing companies that's banned weapons in our lease. I would really appreciate a push from other property providers to do that as well, to make, it just makes it easier to evict someone, a problem person, if they happen to have like weapons in their lease, which we've dealt with in the past. I would really appreciate a push from the community and the student involvement on that to encourage other property providers to add that. That would be huge.
This is very helpful. Thank you, Erin. And I wonder if that's something that's come up at the property provider meetings?
It actually has not. So I think we were kind of the first ones to implement it. But, you know, a lot of the other property owners are kind of more conservative, I'd say, in their beliefs. But I don't think that weapons have any place in Isla Vista.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, Erin. I see Jackie, your hand is up.
Yeah, I just thought I would just follow up on Erin's mention of a lease amendment or a lease notation, because I know there have been other discussions about lease amendments involving illegal drug use, parties over a certain number of people. Perhaps I don't remember exactly the language, but it feels to me like perhaps there is an opportunity for a larger discussion about lease amendments that can include things like gun possession and other risky factors that go on in our community. I'm perhaps Jen Burcham can join us at one point, or maybe add it to the agenda that she often has in place for the property managers, because we're still uncertain whether those kinds of things are in everybody's lease or if they're just recommended to be. Yeah, so I just, you know, there's other risky issues too.
That's right. Thank you, Jackie. Jay, would you like to jump into that?
Yeah, this is definitely something that has come up in the past. I mean, I remember there was I think it might have been 2015, there was a big push on these lease amendments. And this is something where I feel like one issue comes up, maybe it's weapons, for example, and then people are kind of get, oh, maybe that's a good idea, maybe that's something. And then it starts, like feature creep is a term from a scope creep, where it's like, okay, well, you know, maybe we should then also try to ban illegal, you know, illicit drugs, and then it starts turning into, okay, well, we should ban you know, marijuana, things like that, things that even are somewhat legal in the area. Then it starts looking into banning parties, and it just the scope creep gets so large, it turning into what I would personally argue should be public policies that people are using laws to vote on. Like, if we don't want people to have weapons in their home, maybe we should be doing the advocating for that as a policy, like a legal issue, as opposed to using the private landlord community and the leverage from, particularly at the time, I know it was UCSB housing department, was able to like withdraw access to the or was able to threaten withdraw access to like the housing community forums and things. I can't remember the term for that, but community fair, in order to try to get landlords to make these changes, kind of utilizing a de facto version of law in the community. So I feel for it occasionally on particular subtopics, but then immediately it starts, I mean, as you hear, it's like we mentioned weapons, and suddenly, okay, well, that seems like we got the door open, so we can start doing all these other things comes up. And I think it's just a really dangerous area to go, but yeah.
I disagree, actually. And under the same legal provisions that we can ban cigarette smoking, it actually falls under the ability to ban dangerous weapons and stuff. And I've never tried to ban illicit drugs. Like, that would imply consent or exposure to a certain degree of those substances, which that is also covered under the right of privacy.
Well, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying it's illegal for you to make those things to your lease. I'm just saying that, like, doing it as a big public push and having a big community effort to try to convince all the landlords to do one thing, that's where I start getting at.
Yeah, and maybe I can elaborate more. I hear your point, Jay and Erin, about the illicit drugs. So maybe I think I misspoke when I was reflecting on previous discussions about amendments. I think they were more about the landlord's response to public to party gathering. There was some language about maybe the size of the party, and it wasn't. It was just the landlord's approach to how they would respond or what steps would be taken if tenants did not follow the rules that were established by that property manager or by that landlord. So it might not have been a legal issue, but more just a statement of the property manager's expectations, a statement of expectations. That might be a better way.
You know, Jackie, that I think that ties in very much. I was, as the advisor to Isla Vista Tenants Union, very involved in that conversation about the lease addendum back in, I think as Jonathan said, 15, 16, 17. And where I think that conversation really went left or right, or I don't know which way it went awry, was in really kind of putting everything, it was not developed really through a collective process. And it was pretty draconian in terms of some of the measures that were put in place with that addendum that included things like, made a condition basically of material breach of contract if you had a skateboard in a walkway. And so I think that where we ended up was really having to kind of pull back from that entire conversation in the direction that was going in, and looking more at shifting towards what I think you just kind of referenced a little bit, which was more about community agreements, right? More about the expectations of how we're going to be working together as a community, as opposed to trying to kind of codify these kinds of restrictions, because it was kind of really a lot of things went into that sausage, I think, as it was being made. And so my thought would be that if there's a conversation about something to that extent, whether it's a common conversation about community expectations, that we could definitely broach that back with Jen again, and re-engage the process kind of from the beginning, starting from scratch to think about where we are now. I mean, a lot has changed, I think, in IV in these last, 5 or 6 years. And so that would be my thought too, is perhaps we can just kind of come back to the conversation as a whole, as opposed to what was already embedded in the previous conversations about the lease addendums. Okay. Wonderful. If there is no additional comment, and there definitely is energy around the lease conversation, so making a note of that, I will follow up with Jen and see how we can think about moving that conversation forward. But if there's nothing else on that one, I will move us on to the next agenda item. That is the report out from IV RPD. And so Luis or Kimberly.
Yeah, thank you. Luis Valerio, Assistant General Manager with Isla Vista Rec and Park District. Have a few announcements to share with everybody. Tomorrow, Friday, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., we're going to be celebrating the 3 murals that were created during the spring concert series. So those of you who attended the concerts, we had a live muralist at each concert on site doing live art, and they were painting murals, 4x8 murals, and we have one 8x8 mural, and all 3 murals have been installed at Cool Corner, which is located in Anascoyo Park, near the Snag building and Ivy Drip. So tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., in collaboration with the Arts Fund of Santa Barbara, we'll be doing a ribbon cutting celebrating those murals being installed. We'll have some light refreshments, and while supplies last, some free ice cream sandwiches from Ivy Drip. So thank you, Ivy Drip, for providing those. So if you're in the area, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., come on by. We'll have a DJ as well, providing some music. So it'll be a nice way to kind of end the school year. So we're really excited. Also, if you haven't walked by Cool Corner in Anascoyo Park, we actually installed a permanent chain link fence on the north side of the park behind all of the Pardal businesses. So there's a new fence line there. And also earlier this year, back in January, we planted over 30 native plants on the berm there along the sidewalk on Cool Corner on Embarcadero del Norte. And we've installed a wooden post fence as well to kind of help protect the plants to allow them to properly grow in. If you haven't walked by there, it looks amazing. They're starting to settle in, and we're really excited to activate that space now with murals. And our intentions is to bring more art into IV, work with more local muralists, and hopefully add a few more murals along that fence line to kind of help create that, really make Cool Corner cool again. Because I think that's what the attention was when it got its nickname. So yeah, that's tomorrow. We had earlier this month, we had a volunteer day at Sueño Orchard on May 26th. I just want to thank all the volunteers that came out that helped us weed and wood chip around all of our 30 plus fruit trees. So if you're in the area for Sonia Orchard, stop on by. It looks amazing. And again, thank you to all the volunteers. We'll be hosting another Park Stewardship Day on June 30th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. That's a Thursday. And that will be focusing at Pelican Park on Del Playa. And so we'll be doing some volunteer work there, doing some park restoration. So if you're looking for volunteer opportunities and you want to do something that's hands-on and make an impact in your community and your local park, that's June 30th, Pelican Park. Our Adopt the Block program is continuing to host drop-in hours on Fridays. So every Friday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., volunteers are welcome to stop by the office, sign in, and get a couple hours of Adopt the Block in. So that program is still running during the summer. On Saturdays, we are doing it by reservation only, and we are looking mostly for large group reservations, so like groups of 5 or larger. So if groups would like to do, Fridays don't work for a group, but they want to do a Saturday, they can just contact cleaniv@ivparks.org. And we would be happy to accommodate and do a Saturday Adopt the Block. Otherwise, Fridays right now during the summer, until we hire a new summer Adopt the Block intern, Fridays will continue to be our drop-in hours from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Our board meeting will be hosted next Thursday on June 16th at 5:30 p.m. So welcome everyone to join us. It'll be you can join us virtually via Zoom. The link will be on our website next Monday. A couple topics, discussion items that just want to bring to the group is one will be continuing our discussion about the 50th anniversary for the Isla Vista Rec and Park District. So we began discussion at our last board meeting. IVRPD is turning 50 this Halloween. And so for those of you who attended our Halloween pumpkin patch this past year, we're going to be hoping to kind of do something a little bit revamped, a little larger in scale, and do something fun that week of Halloween, and do a slew of activities. Actually is our intention, is to really activate various spaces and host various different activities that would be free to the community. So if you want to chime in or listen into what we have in store, please join our meeting. And just want to remind everybody, we do have those brand new hydration stations. Thank you, Supervisor Greg Hart, who came out to the ribbon cutting. It was really great, and we have 8 new fountains all along IV. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. They have refillable water bottle stations, and also a couple of them at Sea Lookout and Sueño Dog Park have the dog bowls. And yeah, just want to continue to showcase those. Also just want to recap kind of Greek Park. So Greek Park, earlier this last month, May 21st, we hosted an on-site meeting to discuss improvements of Greek Park. We hosted, this was our second public meeting. We've had a survey going on. We had a secondary survey going on. And I don't know if I have, by chance, real quick, can I do a share screen?
Sure.
Is that allowed?
Absolutely. Let me see if I have permission to make you.
Yep. And so what at our meeting, our second public meeting at Greek Park, we had a lot of people come in by, give input, take a survey. We've come up with 2 concept designs, which we'll be kind of moving forward with. We're not going to finalize, we're not going to select one at this moment. We're currently looking to secure funds for the project. But we have these 2 designs that we'll be presenting to our board, and we'll use to kind of help us, guide us in the in the search for funds, through whether it's grants or through donations or fundraising. It's been really great this whole spring quarter. We've been actively hosting meetings online, virtually, and we've got a lot of public feedback. It's fine. If not, it's fine.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, no worries. But if you want to see them, we'll be showing those 2 designs at our board meeting next Thursday. And then kind of just wrapping this up, we have kind of laid out a schedule for music in the park and movies in the park. So both series will be coming back. We'll have an 8-week Movies in the Park series that will kick off at the end of August and run all the way through the 2nd week of October. And that's in collaboration with Isla Vista Arts. So thank you to Anna Jensen and her team. We're really looking forward to it. We're starting to kind of develop, put a list of movies together, but we'll be doing 8 weeks of movies. And then we'll be doing a 4-week concert series that will take place the entire month of September. So I believe September has 5 weeks, 5 weekends this year. So we'll be taking over 4 of those, and we'll be hosting music in the park with local bands, just like we did this past spring and last summer. So excited to just kind of continue that. I think those will become staple events, staple series that we will continue to host year on for IV. And if anyone is interested in participating and collaborating, being a part of those series, feel free to reach out to myself or Kimberly. We're always looking for partners, always looking to collaborate. Our door is always open and welcome to all. And yeah, I think that's all I have to share.
Yeah, I just want to echo Luis and say thank you. And please come out and participate. We'd love to see you on our Aloha Friday Day tomorrow. Spread the word. It should be fun and mellow. And yeah, excited to do more stewardship days starting more formally in August. So we'll have an announcement then. But really starting to uptick our stewardship days for offerings on Saturdays. And look more kind of beyond just the scope of our park and adopt a block, but also habitat restoration, other items and areas that we really want to focus on. So thank you so much for all that you guys do, community at large, and yeah, really appreciate the dialogue here. Thank you. Thanks, Luis.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Luis and Kimberly. So great to hear about all the amazing things happening and coming up. Really exciting. Are there any questions for IVRPD? Okay, so thank you all again. And then next and last on our agenda would be the IVCSD report. Spencer, I would turn that over to you.
I'm actually going to do the report for Spencer.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Sydney.
Yeah, of course. I'll keep it really brief. We held an Isla Vista Mobility Plan workshop about 2 weeks ago, and we had over 50 attendees come out, and we heard some really great feedback from residents and community members to just, hear and learn more about ways to improve getting around Isla Vista. So that was really wonderful. Last week, we hosted a community meeting on Move Out to just let people know about various resources that are available, kind of some sustainable move out tips. We shared information about our free rental housing mediation program, just to help people with things like security deposits and anything that pops up as they're moving out. And then we opened it up to have a conversation around improving move out in the future. And again, heard wonderful feedback that we can incorporate in the years to come. I'll drop the link to our Move Out webpage in the chat in just a minute, in case you want to share that with any of your networks. We have 2 open positions right now, one being the Isla Vista Beautiful Program Manager, and the other is a compost pile coordinator with our compost collective team. And again, I'll also drop both of those in the chat. But yeah, that sums it up. I just wanted to keep it brief and just do a couple high-level reports, but thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sydney, for those. Do we have any questions for the IVCSD? Okay, wonderful. Then we have reached the end of the agenda unless there's anything that is a burning issue or another agenda item that anybody would like to touch on. Oh, I'm so sorry. Actually, that is not true. Jackie, thank you. Back to you, Jackie. I apologize.
No problem. No problem.
Would you like to take the mic?
Yeah. I think I was just looking to raise a discussion and get some thoughts from people in this room, and it reflects back on the issue of fentanyl and the risks to the community. So the way that we are involved from the university is we oversee the recovery program and the Gauchos for Recovery program and peers. And through the efforts of Angie Bryan over these last, at least 6 years, she's been able to receive free naloxone, and through a partnership with Pacific Pride, she's been able to receive free fentanyl test strips, and has initiated a distribution and training for these products. So she offers online. It's been online since COVID. Previously was in person, trainings. Her peers regularly table outside of Embarcadero Hall, where Gauchos for Recovery is located, several times a week, and distribute naloxone and offer information and provide training on how it's utilized, etc. The need is great in the community, and I am feeling uncertain about how to meet those needs. Our student staff is not equipped. We don't have enough of them, and they're not equipped to be able to distribute more often. We don't necessarily have access to enough product. We're kind of feeling like we're going even, beyond our, and I don't know if is Kirsten, yeah, Kirsten's still on. I feel like we have some responsibility to the campus to provide these services to the students and to the campus, and yet we're finding more and more need in the community that's not necessarily university students, and feeling the responsibility and the desire to keep as many people safe as possible. So I'm just wondering, and maybe this is something for Greg, for the supervisors, where can we hope that the county can step in, or perhaps it's the IVCSD that we can appeal to see what Jonathan and Spencer and Sydney feel might be possible in terms of supporting the community in it to help us meet these needs. So it's more, I don't have a suggestion at the moment. I'm just wondering what people feel can possibly come together to provide more safety for the community.
Well, I would just jump in. I know that Sheriff Brown has convened this a specific project to look into opioid abuse, and is working collaboratively with a number of different community partners. I'll reach out to him and encourage him to specifically engage, on this subject in Isla Vista.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he has done anything to coordinate with the Community Services District. It's a pretty new initiative. I think it's only a couple months old, but it's, I think his intentions are good, and it's a very complex subject, as you know.
Yeah.
And more partnerships, the better. There's a lot of different ways to get at this, but I think, in the good side, he is looking at a model that was successfully implemented in Florida, and trying to take the best practices from that and apply that to our situation here locally.
Yeah, thank you. I've attended two of the Project Opioid gatherings up in Buellton, and it was a great opportunity for all of us to learn in the county who's doing what and who's offering what support and services. And I think there's some lack of agreement perhaps on harm reduction as a concept. And I understand from law enforcement, they may see one side of the issue as a treatment provider and a substance use specialist. We see a different side of the harm reduction concept. So, and we've had those discussions a little bit in these meetings. I agree with you. I think Sheriff Brown's approach is starting the conversation and delving into it. I don't know that he's looked at Isla Vista in particular, of course, because it's a big county, so he's got a lot of area to deal with. So I guess that's why I was bringing it to this group, thinking that maybe the resources within our own community here could help. But thank you, Greg. I appreciate any further conversations about it. Absolutely.
Another partner obviously to engage is the Department of Behavioral Wellness too.
Yes.
They have resources and staff that could also be of great assistance.
Yeah, and John Doyle is a longtime colleague, and I certainly want to bring this to him. It's just come up more recently.
Sure.
In our work that we just can't, we can't be everywhere and provide all that's needed. So I certainly intend to talk to John and see what their plans are. During the pandemic, when the parks were very full, Angie was out there with somebody from public health distributing naloxone and doing as much harm reduction prevention work as possible. So I know it's possible to do. I'll bring it up with him again. Thanks.
Thank you, Jackie.
Spencer.
Hey, Jackie, I just wanted to add a thanks to you for bringing this issue up. Obviously, it goes without saying just how important it is to keep our residents safe. And I'd love to talk with you more offline about it and about the current state of things to learn more from you.
Great. Thanks, Spencer. We'll do. And I'll get Angie involved because it's clearly her, her focus. Yeah. Thanks.
And Jackie, I just had actually a follow-up question. I know in the past, the reason that you were having to go, you had the collaboration with the foundation was because it's still illegal to purchase it. Is that
you talking about the naloxone? It's not illegal. It's the fentanyl test strips. Strips. And the reason that Pacific Pride is able to distribute them is because they have a state waiver as a safe injection site, as a needle exchange program, not a safe injection site, sorry. They have a waiver to be able to distribute fentanyl test strips, which are, according to our county, considered paraphernalia, and therefore they're illegal. But Pacific Pride has the ability to distribute them, and through a volunteer partnership we being Gauchos for Recovery, or alcohol and drug program, because of this partnership we have with PPF, they give them to us and we put them in our naloxone kits that we distribute.
And does that still pose a really significant barrier, the fact that you were having to move through that kind of collaboration in terms of being able to access it directly? And is that something about a change to the law that should be a consideration as part of this conversation?
That has been a discussion for a while. Gina Fisher was deeply involved in it in terms of trying to go to the state and find out why this paraphernalia law exists the way that it does. She could probably offer, I know she can offer more background about how it, what her efforts were. Joyce Dudley was involved at one point, trying to figure out if there could be some exceptions made. But I don't know how that proceeded. We just decided to stop putting our energies into a wall that wasn't moving, and we went to Pacific Pride Foundation, and they're very generous with their supplies, and so we have a great partnership with them. Makes it a little bit more inconvenient, to constantly have to go pick up the supplies and so on. But it's not impossible, and Kristen Flivinger is a wonderful community partner.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much for bringing this up. Are there any other questions or comments from anybody on this topic? Okay. And of course, Jackie, I think on the side of AS, always want to continue to work together to do the trainings and to push that in terms of the student body. But it sounds like beyond students. We get a lot of inquiries as a result of AS being involved, and we get inquiries now more and more directly from sororities and fraternities as well, who want to have the product, want to have training. So there's certainly interest in the community and in providing more of this. So look forward to talking with Spencer and seeing what we might be able to do together. Thanks. Thank you. And Lisa?
I've pitched this story to try to get one of our reporters on it because I think it's really important to raise awareness. And if there's anything that we could put out as a radio station for a PSA or any information you want to get out. Also, if there was like a graphic that the students could consider putting in their weekly COVID newsletter, because we're kind of expanding to other news as well now. Sometimes like a square graphic at the bottom, they'll put those in. So just kind of to raise awareness and for information. And once we get, transitioned over with our new student leaders, I'm sure this is a story that they'll want to take up.
Okay, great. We definitely have a graphic we can send you that has good info. So we'll make sure you get that.
Great. I'll email you now too, just to kind of to remind you. Thanks
a lot.
These are always the moments I appreciate so much about the community network and having these conversations together. Any other comments on this or any other topic? otherwise, I think we're just a few minutes over, but really, really appreciate you all staying with us and such an important conversation and conversations today. Please, just to, as we wrap up, just remember, if there is anything that you would like to add to the agenda for a future meeting, please let me know. And if you would like to do a spotlight of the work that you are doing, there is a link to a sign-up sheet. We would love to hear more about your work so that we all become more familiar with it. And as always, if you have anything else that you would like to have forwarded to the rest of the network, please send it to my email address, because I don't check the Ivcn email very often, but always happy to forward that information along. And on that note, I think we're at the end of our time together. Just thank you all so much, as always, for everything you do.
Thanks, Deanna.
What's our next meeting date?
Our next meeting is July, it's on the bottom of the agenda.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got it. July 14th.
You bet.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. See you all later. Bye-bye.